What if I told you that Jack and the Beanstalk, that innocent children's story about a boy, some magic beans, and a giant, is actually one of the darkest fairy tales ever told? And I'm not talking about the sanitized Disney version. Hidden in this seemingly simple tale are ancient rituals, human sacrifice, and a theft so morally questionable it would make modern criminals blush. Think you know this story? You don't. Not really. By the end of this video, you'll never look at fairy tales the same way again. A boy climbing toward the clouds, a giant's shadow looming, and beneath it all, something much older and much darker than anyone wants to admit. But before we climb that beanstalk, let's start at the ground level. Because this story, it didn't begin with a published book. It began thousands of years ago, in blood and ritual. Jack and the Beanstalk. You probably heard it as a bedtime story. A poor boy trades his family's cow for magic beans, climbs a beanstalk to a giant's castle in the sky, steals a golden goose, and escapes. The end? Happily ever after, right? But here's the thing about fairy tales. They're not really for children. They never were. They're fossil records. Ancient stories passed down through generations, each retelling stripping away a little more of the original darkness, until what's left is safe. Jack and the Beanstalk is one of those stories, and what it's hiding is disturbing. Folklorists have traced this tale back over 5,000 years. Some believe it connects to Indo-European sky god myths. Others think it's a metaphor for something far more literal and far more brutal. Today, we're going to dig into 17 dark secrets buried in this story. Things about theft, class warfare, ancient gods, and rituals that would make your blood run cold. Secret number 1. Jack is actually the villain, not the hero. Jack breaks into someone's home, steals their possessions, and murders the homeowner when he tries to stop him. The story frames this as a victory simply because Jack is poor and the giant is wealthy. In the original versions, there's no justification. No, the giant killed Jack's father backstory that later versions added to make Jack sympathetic. Imagine this. A homeless teenager breaks into a billionaire's mansion. He steals gold, then comes back and steals a goose that lays golden eggs. Then he returns a third time to steal a magical harp. When the billionaire chases him, the kid chops down the ladder and kills him. We'd call that home invasion and murder. But because it's a fairy tale, we call it clever. We've been conditioned to root for Jack because he's poor. But poverty doesn't justify theft or murder. The story is actually teaching children that it's acceptable to take from others if you believe you deserve it more than they do. That's not heroism, that's entitlement with a fairy tale filter. But it gets darker, because Jack isn't just stealing from anyone, he's stealing from a giant. And giants? They're not what you think they are. Secret number 2. Giants were once gods, and this story is about killing them. In ancient mythology, giants represented the old gods, powerful primal beings who ruled before humans. The story of Jack may be a cultural memory of religious transformation, new religions overthrowing old ones. Fee fee fo fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman. This isn't just a rhyme, it's a ritual chant, possibly connected to sacrifice. In Norse mythology, the giants, the Jotnar, were ancient beings who existed before the gods. In Greek myth, the Titans were overthrown by the Olympians. Across cultures, there's this pattern. The old massive powers must fall for the new order to rise. Jack killing the giant? That's not just a kid getting lucky. It's a symbolic regicide, the murder of an old god to make room for a new world. When we read giant, we think monster, but to ancient peoples, giants were divine. This story may actually be about the death of pagan gods at the hands of a new Christian-influenced culture. Jack isn't a hero, he's an executioner. And speaking of execution, let's talk about those beans, because they're not just magical, they're dangerous. Secret number 3. The magic beans are a portal to the other world, and that's terrifying. In folklore, portals between worlds, like beanstalks, rainbow bridges, or sacred trees, are liminal spaces, dangerous thresholds. Crossing into the realm of gods or giants always requires a price, usually blood or sacrifice. Jack's mother throws the beans away in horror. she instinctively knows they're cursed. Think of every myth you know, where someone crosses into another realm. Persephone eats pomegranate seeds and is trapped in the underworld. Orpheus looks back and loses Eurydice forever. In Celtic lore, stepping into a fairy ring means you may never return, or return centuries later. These aren't just stories, they're warnings. Portals are not to be trifled with. We treat the Beanstalk like a fun adventure ride, but in the logic of fairy tales, Jack has violated a cosmic boundary. He's entered a space he has no right to be in, and in those spaces, theft isn't just illegal, it's sacrilege. Which brings us to what Jack actually steals. And it's not just gold. Secret number 4. The golden goose represents stolen fertility and power. In mythology, golden objects, apples, fleece, eggs, symbolize divine power, immortality, or fertility. A goose that lays golden eggs is a source of endless creation, essentially the power of a god. By stealing it, Jack isn't just taking wealth, he's taking the giant's ability to create life and sustain his realm. In Greek myth, Jason steals the golden fleece, a symbol of kingship and divine favor. In Norse legend, the goddess Idun guards golden apples that grant immortality to the gods. When she's kidnapped, the gods begin to age and weaken. Gold isn't just money in these stories, it's life force, it's power. And Jack is stealing the very essence of the giant's existence. We think Jack is just getting rich, but symbolically, he's castrating the giant, removing his ability to sustain himself or his world. It's not a heist, it's a murder by starvation, slow, calculated, and cruel. And then there's the harp. Oh, the harp. Secret number 5. The singing harp is a captured soul. The harp is alive. It sings, it speaks, it calls for help when Jack steals it. In folklore, enchanted objects are often cursed beings, people transformed and trapped. Jack takes this living thing, knowing it's conscious, knowing it's crying out. Think about Beauty and the Beast. The enchanted objects, the clock, the candelabra, were once human servants, trapped in object form. Or the Greek myth of Philomela, who was transformed into a nightingale, but still sang her suffering. When the harp cries out, "Master, Master," it's not an alarm system. It's a prisoner screaming for rescue. Jack isn't just a thief, he's a kidnapper. He takes a sentient being, silences it, and uses it for entertainment. If the harp is truly alive, and the story says it is, then Jack has committed one of the darkest acts in the entire tale, and we clap for him. But let's zoom out for a moment, because this isn't just about Jack's individual crimes. This story is about class warfare. Secret number 6. Jack and the Beanstalk is a story about peasant rebellion. Jack is poor, starving, and desperate. His theft is born of survival, not greed. The giant hoards wealth, while those below starve. He's the ultimate symbol of the oppressive ruling class. The story resonates because it's a power fantasy. The powerless, rising up and taking from the powerful. In medieval Europe, where this story took root, the gap between nobility and peasants was brutal. Lords lived in castles, feasted on roasted meat, while peasants ate gruel and died young. Robin Hood stole from the rich and gave to the poor, and we cheered. Jack does the same thing, except he keeps it all, and we still cheer. Why? Because deep down, we understand the rage of inequality. This story wasn't told to teach morals. It was told to let the poor imagine, just for a moment, what it would feel like to win, to take, to survive. Jack isn't aspirational. He's a revolutionary, and revolutions are never clean. Now let's talk about the cow. Because selling the family cow, that's not just a plot device. That's a death sentence. Secret number 7. Selling the cow was essentially selling the family's life. In agrarian societies, a cow was survival. Milk, cheese, butter, and eventually meat. Trading it for beans wasn't foolish, it was suicidal. Jack's mother's rage isn't overreaction. It's the terror of a woman who knows they're now going to starve. Imagine you're living paycheck to paycheck. Your car breaks down. It's your only way to get to work. Someone offers to trade you a lottery ticket for your car. You take the deal. That's what Jack did. The cow was their last asset, their final lifeline. and he traded it for magic beans from a stranger. His mother doesn't cry because she's disappointed. She cries because she thinks they're going to die. We're told Jack is brave and trusting, but actually he's reckless and desperate. The story romanticizes his gamble because it pays off. But in real life, in that historical moment, what Jack did would have killed his family. Let's talk about the giant's wife, because she's one of the most tragic figures in this entire story. Secret number 8. The giant's wife is an abuse victim helping her own enemy. The giant's wife hides Jack from her husband, feeds him and warns him, even though Jack is robbing her. She's clearly afraid of her husband. He'll eat you if he finds you. She's trapped in an abusive relationship and sees Jack as either a way out or simply someone she can't help but protect. The giant's wife is like so many abuse survivors, living in fear, trying to keep the peace, and making impossible choices. She helps Jack because she's terrified of what her husband will do if he finds him. But by helping Jack, she's also enabling the destruction of her own home. It's heartbreaking. She's not evil. She's broken. We barely give her a second thought in the story, but she's the most human character in it. And at the end, when Jack kills her husband, we never find out what happens to her. Does she mourn? Does she starve? Does she fall to her death when the beanstalk is cut down? We don't know, because the story doesn't care. She was just a tool. Now let's address the most unsettling part of this entire story, the giant's famous chant. Secret number 9. Fee fi fo fum might be a spell or a recipe. I smell the blood of an Englishman. The giant isn't just threatening, he's identifying his prey. In some versions, the giant says, "Be he alive or be he dead, I'll grind his bones to make my bread." This is literal cannibalism. The chant's rhythm and repetition suggest it's ritualistic, possibly a curse or invocation. In folklore, cannibalistic giants appear everywhere. Greek Cyclops, Norse Jotnar, Celtic Fomorians. They don't just kill humans, they consume them. It's a primal fear, being eaten, being reduced to meat. The giant's chant isn't just scary, it's a predator, announcing its presence, the way a wolf howls before the hunt. We laugh at fee fi fo fum because it sounds silly, but remove the fairy tale filter, and what you have is a creature that hunts humans for food and has a ritual chant to mark the kill. That's not whimsy, that's horror. Let's talk about the beanstalk itself, because it's not just a plant. Secret number 10. The beanstalk is the world tree, and Jack just killed it. In mythology, the world tree, Yggdrasil in Norse myth, the tree of life in various cultures, connects heaven, earth, and the underworld. Cutting it down is an act of cosmic violence. It severs the connection between realms. Jack's final act isn't heroic, it's apocalyptic. In Norse mythology, Yggdrasil is the ash tree that holds the 9 realms together. If it were destroyed, the cosmos would collapse. In Mayan cosmology, the world tree is the center of creation. These aren't just big plants, they're the architecture of existence. When Jack chops down the beanstalk, he's not just killing the giant, he's severing earth from heaven, trapping whatever gods or beings remain, and ensuring they can never return. We think Jack is protecting his family, but symbolically, he's committed deicide, the murder of the divine, and destroyed the bridge between worlds. In mythological terms, that's not salvation. It's the end of magic, the end of wonder, and the beginning of a world where the gods are gone forever. Now let's get even darker, because some scholars believe Jack and the beanstalk is actually about human sacrifice. Secret number 11. The story may be a memory of child sacrifice. In ancient cultures, children or young people were sometimes sacrificed to gods. Moloch, Aztec rituals, Celtic Wicca men. Climbing to the sky to meet a giant could be a metaphor for being offered to a god. Jack's survival and return with treasure inverts the expected outcome. He was supposed to die, but didn't. The Bible tells the story of Abraham being asked to sacrifice his son Isaac on a mountaintop. Aztec priests would ritually sacrifice young people atop pyramids to appease the sun god. In ancient Britain, bog bodies suggest ritual killings. What if Jack and the Beanstalk is a garbled memory of a boy sent up as an offering, except he came back, and we've been celebrating his survival ever since. Fairy tales often encode trauma. Red Riding Hood is about predators. Hansel and Gretel is about abandonment and starvation. What if Jack and the Beanstalk is about a time when communities sent their children to die, and one somehow made it home? Let's talk about the 3 thefts, because the number 3 isn't random. Secret number 12. The 3 thefts follow an ancient ritual pattern. In folklore, things happen in threes. 3 wishes, 3 trials, 3 visits. 3 is a sacred number in many traditions. The Christian Trinity, the Triple Goddess, the 3 Fates, Jack's 3 trips up the Beanstalk mirror initiation rites. He must prove himself worthy through repeated acts. In most versions, Jack's father is dead, or never mentioned, leaving Jack as the man of the house at a very young age. In later adaptations, the giant killed Jack's father, giving Jack a revenge motive. The absence of the father figure forces Jack into adulthood prematurely, which explains his reckless desperation. Think of every quest in mythology. Perseus faces 3 challenges. Psyche completes 3 impossible tasks for Aphrodite. The 3 little pigs face the wolf 3 times. Why? Because 3 represents completion. Beginning, middle, end, birth, life, death, past, present, future. Jack's 3 thefts aren't random greed. They're a ritual progression, each one more dangerous, each one more symbolic. The story isn't teaching us about theft. It's teaching us about transformation. Jack goes up 3 times, and each time he returns more powerful. By the 3rd theft, he's no longer a boy. He's a myth. He's crossed into legend, and legends are written in 3s. But what about Jack's father? Because most versions leave him out entirely, and that absence is haunting. Secret number 13. Jack's missing father is the story's biggest mystery. In countless fairy tales, the absent or dead parent is the catalyst for the story. Cinderella's mother dies, and her father remarries. Snow White's mother dies, and the stepmother takes over. Absence creates vulnerability, and vulnerability creates narrative. Jack's missing father means there's no protector, no provider, no guide. Jack is alone, and that makes his choices, stupid, dangerous, morally questionable, make more sense. He's a child playing at being a man. If you add the father back in, the whole story changes. A father would never let Jack trade the cow for beans. A father would climb the beanstalk first. A father would protect his son. Jack's story only works because he's fatherless. And that tells us something about what this tale is really about. Boys forced to become men too soon, making terrible decisions because no one's there to stop them. Now let's talk about the ending, because Jack doesn't just win, he gets away with everything. Secret number 14, Jack faces 0 consequences. Jack commits theft, trespassing, and murder, and suffers no punishment. He becomes wealthy and lives happily ever after, rewarded for his crimes. The story normalizes the idea that the ends justify the means. In most stories, there's justice. The wolf gets killed, the witch burns in her own oven, the villain falls from the tower, but Jack wins. He's rich, his mother's proud, and the giant is dead and forgotten. It's as if the universe looked at his crimes and said, "You know what? Fine. You're poor, so you get a pass." And that's terrifying because it teaches us that morality is situational. We call this a children's story, but it's actually teaching moral relativism. The message isn't, don't steal. It's steal if you think you can get away with it. And if you're clever enough and desperate enough, the world will call you a hero. Let's talk about what happens after the story ends, because we never find out. Secret number 15. What happened to the giant's world after Jack cut the beanstalk? If the beanstalk was the only connection between the giant's realm and Earth, cutting it down trapped everyone up there. The giant's wife, any other giants, any creatures, they're now stranded, possibly starving. Jack may have destroyed an entire civilization. Imagine if aliens visited Earth and one human killed one of them. In retaliation, the aliens destroyed the spaceship that brought them here, stranding everyone. No way home. No way to get supplies. Just slow death by isolation. That's what Jack did. He didn't just kill one giant. He severed an entire realm from existence, and we never talk about it. Jack's final act isn't self-defense, it's annihilation. He doesn't just escape, he ensures no one from that world can ever come after him, or come down at all. It's not heroism, it's scorched earth. And the story wants us to celebrate it. So why does this story still exist? Why do we keep telling it? Secret number 16. We keep telling this story because it justifies our own greed. Jack and the Beanstalk is a story about upward mobility through any means necessary, a very Western, capitalist narrative. We identify with Jack because we want to believe that if we were in his position, we'd do the same thing. The story survives because it flatters us. We're the clever underdog, not the exploited giant. Look at any rags to riches story in modern culture. The Pursuit of Happiness, Slumdog Millionaire, Rocky. We love these narratives because they tell us that anyone can make it if they're just clever or tough enough. But Jack's story adds a darker layer. You can also make it by stealing, lying, and killing. And if you do it well enough, history will call you a hero. We don't tell this story to teach morals. We tell it to comfort ourselves, to justify the violence of ambition, to believe that the world is fair, and that if we're desperate enough, we're allowed to do whatever it takes. Jack isn't a fairy tale character, he's a mirror, and what we see in him is us. So what's the final secret? What's the one thing this story has been hiding all along? Secret number 17. Jack and the Beanstalk is about the death of magic. By killing the giant and cutting down the beanstalk, Jack ends the age of magic and wonder. The story marks the transition from a mythological world, where giants and magic exist, to a rational, human-dominated one. Jack's victory is actually a loss. He's made the world smaller, safer, but less wondrous. In Tolkien's Lord of the Rings, when the elves leave Middle-earth, magic goes with them. The world becomes duller, more ordinary. The same thing happens in Jack and the Beanstalk. When the beanstalk falls, the portal closes. Giants can't come down, humans can't go up, the age of heroes and gods is over. And what do we get instead? Gold, a harp, comfort and wealth, but no more wonder. We think Jack won, but maybe he lost. Maybe we all lost. Because in killing the giant and severing the beanstalk, he ensured that magic would never return, that children would grow up in a world of dirt and coins, not clouds and castles. Jack didn't save the world, he closed it. And we've been living in that smaller world ever since. So there you have it. 17 dark secrets hidden in a story you thought you knew. Jack and the Beanstalk isn't a tale about a clever boy outwitting a monster. It's a story about desperation, moral compromise, the death of gods, and the end of magic. It's about class warfare, cosmic violence, and the uncomfortable truth that sometimes the hero is actually the villain. Fairy tales aren't just entertainment. They're cultural DNA. They're the stories we tell ourselves about who we are, what we fear, and what we believe we're allowed to do. And Jack's story, it tells us that survival justifies anything, that poverty excuses theft, that the old world must die for the new one to live. Whether you agree with that or not, well, that's up to you. The next time someone tells you it's just a bedtime story, just a fairy tale, remember this: every story has roots, and sometimes those roots go deeper and darker than we ever imagined. So what do you think? Is Jack a hero or a villain? Did he save his family or destroy an entire world? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Sweet dreams, if you can still have them after this.